G'day guys and welcome to a review. It's a bit of a double review this week, so it'll be the 3rd of September, the Randwick meeting, and the 27th of August, recap of a few races from Rosehill last week as I missed that review, and there's a few key runners that are probably worth going over as they're going to feature in some races going forward. So firstly, yesterday was a Randwick 6 metre rail. It definitely was an advantage to be sort of between 2 and 6 metres, so 2 and 6 horses maybe off the fence. Tougher to make ground inside and outside of that, and just tough to make ground at all. It looked like it did favour those a little bit closer to the speed for most of the day, and that's the way I saw it. The first race of the day was a really slowly run race, and basically the race was handed to signposted. Credit to the Thompson team, they've really placed this horse exceptionally well throughout. He just leads, crawls, kicks, and that's it. So Willie had the excuse of pulling up lane, but he's a bit of a punishing horse, and once he was back there, the way the pattern was for the day in the end and the way they've run this race, he was no chance. DIC stuck on well. He probably had the right run, but he's done well for a horse first up on that sort of track, and there's no reason that he can't go on for a good preparation. Also Splendido is not a bad effort either. So all merit with the first and second horses probably here. As a going forward, they really looked after this horse and found some nice races between that mile and 2000 where he's been able to lead and dictate and really cause them some problems, and DIC getting out to sort of a mile and a half race somewhere, maybe Country Cups in Melbourne over the Carnival or something a little bit softer here, definitely within the range there. Race 2, and another little middle distance race. This time we had a really even sort of tempo. Dubai and Style overdid a little bit in front probably. So half misses the kick here and gets pushed through eventually to find the front. Thunder Down Under I thought was a good effort. I expected it to improve, but I thought it might race a little bit more handy, and having to make a long sustained run on this track at the end of this race is probably what ordered it undone. It got tired a little bit late when it looked the winner. Dowds and Charlie, they've done a really supreme effort with it to bring it back 800 metres in trip and win last start, and then a further 400 metres in trip on probably an improving track to what it was last start. Good credit to the stable to have him freshened up enough to run well here. Rainbow Park's another horse that was probably interesting. I didn't think it was really suited, but it did look a bit of a knockout chance in this race, just on pure ability. Got a little bit out sprinted and was a big racing grade from its last start. She finds the right race, she could be a force soon, so we'll skip through it a bit. This is where the pressure goes on. Thunder Down Under pulls out and looks the winner. You know that Dowds and Charlie's not going to lie down, he's just tough, that's his main attribute, and even though he looks to wobble all over the place and get tired, he's really wants to stick his neck out, and that's his go. Thunder Down Under's condition just gives here. And Dubai and Style probably beaten by one superior stayer, and even though he tries to rally, I doubt he was ever going to get past Dowds and Charlie. We'll just go back and look at Rainbow Park, who dropped a bit quite aggressively for a few hundred metres here, but her last 100 is quite nice.
Now it's on. Thunder Down Under and Dowdston Charlie's in for the fight. Dowdston Charlie's kicking.
She really finds the line well late, Rainbow Park, and probably arguably the run of the race for mine. She was the least suited, and to get that close to some pretty seasoned veterans is a good effort. She's ready to win. Thunder Down Under next time I think too is ready to win. Dowds and Charlie will just find another similar race, probably back up in trip, and Dubai and Style something similar again and can win. So the top 4 can all go on to win if placed well. But definitely Rainbow Park, the one to follow out of the race for mine. Race 3 on the day is the 3-year-old race, and another race where they really control the tempo up front here. No genius to work out that High Miss should have won the race and found a few dead ends. I was a little bit surprised with the tactics from a number of the riders here. I thought that they might try and go forward on Taj Mahal. Instead, their V's did out of the race. They took the initiative with Square that was first up, and also the filly that was first up with the big weight. She does a good job in Skylight Glow. She's a very nice horse. Tough effort first up to try and do what she's done here, and she only gets beaten half length. High Mist is the horse that looks like it's a spring champion, possibly a Derby horse if it gets that far. The problem with that being he's pretty much doing this all on one prep. He's only had a very short break between runs, and I think if he gets to a spring champion, that will probably do him. If he goes on for Derby on that, it's probably going to be a big effort. So I'd be confident with him making it to a spring champion, and then worrying about Derby aspirations following that. Swears remains unbeaten here. He's obviously a horse that's going to get further as well and be a nightmare in races of that nature. He drops the bit as well and picks it up strongly late. Watching High Mist here, him behind, takes the inside run a little bit earlier than I'd normally expect Bowman to do. He'd normally be waiting for a position there and trying to angle, but for whatever reason, McDonald's not happy to let him anywhere near that run that he's looking for, and he gets knocked over and loses momentum a few times, and in a slow stop-start affair, that's just tragic. He should have won clearly. Taj Mahal, probably a little bit of an excuse coming wide against that slow pace. But all in all, can't knock the winner really. He's done nothing wrong. He's raced up outside the leader, and he's in the right place at the right time, even though High Mist should have beaten him. There's not much between them in terms of merit in the run. And the filly to hold on for third so closely, there's just a clear gap between them and the rest. I'm not sure what Taj Mahal's go is. A bit dusty, only at his second starts, run credibly, and Singleton's horse, Shanzy Lee's run quite well as well up to this grade. So all pretty good efforts. The first and second horse, the two that I'm really keen to follow going up in trip to races like, I guess, Caulfield Guineas maybe for Swear, or Spring Champion Stakes for both of them. I'm not sure what their plans are. And Skylight Glow will be a force to be reckoned with in the Phillies events, I'm sure. Race 4, the Highway, we won't spend much time on this. I do want to point out that the favourite was coming off a run that was desperately tough. He really was ridden out of his comfort zone. He misses the kick here, and again is ridden out of his comfort zone. You see that he's not a naturally fast horse early. He might have shown a bit of speed against slow horses early in his career, but when he gets up to this sort of level, you can see that he's still being pushed hard on. So he's coming off a really tough first up run over 1200 where he was ridden out of his pattern on a heavy track. To now go to 1400 on a heavy track, out of his comfort zone again, and I will not sack him. The favourite, the winners had the suck run on his back. He's hard fit. He had everything in his favour here. He finds the right spot, and I'd rather have one of this horse than 5 of this. So I think Galaxy Warrior next time out you'll see a better horse. If this run hasn't totally tanked him off, that's 2 tough runs in a row. I saw a suggestion of blinkers being added next start. Definitely wouldn't be concerned if that happened. That'd be a positive because it may just spark him to grab a position, not particularly leading her outside the leader like he is, or has done his last 2 starts, but somewhere on pace. Just behind the speed would be even better. And he's a very nice horse. He battles on well, considering everything that sort of could go wrong, did go wrong, even though there was a bit of an on-pace advantage there, but they have run along pretty solidly. So all merit, all honours with the winner. He's done a good job, but the second horse a better run for mine. Really not much back in the pack to be finding. I think it's all about Galaxy Warrior, that race. Race 5. Looked an interesting race on paper. The way the pattern worked out and the way the track was racing, Burning Passion was obviously a deserved favourite. Heavily back, $2.40, probably about right. Zaritza was the one that had everything against it. Was always going to be a little bit off the pace. First up from a spell, and always going to improve from this run dramatically. If it was down the outside, she was going to be right in it, but she probably got there a little bit soon and blew out a touch late. So no surprise to see her beaten today, but don't worry about that for the future, I wouldn't imagine. So she's eased out of the race early. A little bit of a surprise to see these horses battling for a position up the front, and McAvoy does a good job to sort of allow his horse to travel without getting bustled by the other runners. Torgerson's a really good run here from back in the field, and obviously Zaritza takes off nice and early, and she's over racing here where they really steady the pace. And Bowman elects to take off. I don't think that had a big bearing on the decision of the race, but this slow speed here is really hurting a few of these that worked early. So Test Shadow, Gold Symphony and Zinzanetti, so they've burned a little bit early, then backed it right off, then allow the others to come into the race. So it's played into the hands of Burning Passion, Zaritza, Torgerson, and probably Forget, who I'm desperate to see with a touch of luck.
Burning Passion leads at the 300 from Zaritza. Gold Symphony's poking through the centre. Tester Shadows called it a day.
For mine, the winner's flying. Had everything in its favour here and solid winner. Second horse ends up the third horse, has had every thing against it and run well. And Torgerson also, but even though he's had one more run, has run through the line beautifully. So no knock on any of these horses. They're all ready to win. I think that Burning Passion, something similar around 1400. Torgerson probably step out to a mile or similar. 1400 no knock, and something a little bit more forgiving to those off the pace. And Zaritza will be ready to go next start. I'm still keeping Forgetting my little smoky file. I think there's a race in him. I'm not sure where he's going to go. Go back to the Cameron next start, which he won last year. That may be a little bit beyond him, but if he sort of draws a low gate, I think he's ready to improve and improve sharply. I'd forgive the last two for a lot of their margin. You know, burning early and then pulling up stumps halfway through the race really took their chances away from them. So forgive them a little bit. Race 6 for the 3-year-old fillies, and I was keen personally to see Awoke come back. It was a shame the way the track was racing prior to this race. You knew that it was going to need everything to go its way, and I'd sort of switched to more of the Baccarella Global Glamour as the two I was more interested in. Quick Feet was also another one I was interested in, and I'd sort of forgotten about Fox Play. I thought that this was going to be a fitness building run for it, and I was really surprised at how well it hit the line. They did go along pretty steady, and something had to run on, I guess, and it was the one that had the right run to do it. Have a look at this. Awoke has no luck, checked. Back early, sorry. So Baccarella's had to work to sit outside the leader before putting the leader away. Turning for home, still working. Her effort's just enormous. She's really a horse that's coming on. Fox Play's not far from her here, but the way she really accelerates when she gets away from them looks the winner. I was a bit excited here when I thought they were going to run 1-2, Baccarella Quick Feet. But Fox Play launches late. We'll highlight the run of Global Glamour in a second, but we'll just watch this. Fox Play just clearly hits the line better than anything, possibly Global Glamour as well. It's coming strongly late, but she's just charging through the line. Not sure if she's up to Ome Sorter, if she's improved as much as she has, but if she's got something left in the tank from this, just a great effort from Baccarella. She sat up on this fast pace and put them away. It was 1100. She probably wins, and she gets a little bit of a soft time in front, she probably wins. So good effort from her. No knock on anything back and behind here. Smart Amelia's probably had her chance. They've gone quick and she's come through, but it wasn't suiting that sort of runner on the day. Quick Feet might be just a bit softer than them, and I'm a Star had a tough assignment up from Melbourne, and she's run well. This is Awoke back here, so hang on, we'll go back to the turn. So this is Global Glamour's out here sitting wide, no cover, loses the turn. Looks like she's dropping out. This is Awoke who's been wide and trying to run in behind him. So Global Glamour here who's crabbing around the turn. and Awoke looking for the run, kind of watching them both at once. You'll see Awoke get shut out here and basically eased up from that time. Not sure how she was going, but just a really forgivable run all around. And here's Global Glamour finding a second wind and running on strongly. First up from a spell over 1,200 metres, which was a big arc in itself, and she's really doing a good job here with everything going against the plan I'm sure they had for her. So she's one that can improve. I can definitely forgive Awoke for a large percentage of the margin she's beaten. And I'm keen to follow all three place getters. And Smart Amelia is going to be a little bit harder to place, but she's one that can definitely improve as well. Race 7, and kind of a funny betting race with the majority of the majority of fair with Hartnell finally backed into favourite. It was strange to see Prized Icon, even though she's an up-and-comer, lightly weighted, coming up as an early favourite. I expected her to lead, and as soon as Storm the Stars kicked up to hold her out, that was the end of her. Sorry, Prized Icon, that was out of his possible. When I say her, I mean Kathy O'Hara. Once she hasn't led on this horse, she's basically out of the race, and this just played into Hartnell's hands. They've run along at an even time, and then on the turn, it's just good to see what Hartnell can do. I really think it wasn't too big a step up from his first up run. I thought he went enormous there, and he's gone similar here, and he's come back a strong horse, but he just was a class above these at this time over this trip. There was really no opposition for him here. These horses are all getting ready for longer races further down the track, and they've all gone well for mine. I think all four of them have run pretty solidly. If you had Winks 2 or 3 in front of this horse Hartnell and they were beating that margin, they would be happy. You can see them just warming up as they're hard to pull up, these guys. They're all on track for good spring carnivals. No knock on anything there. Hartnell's obviously gone really well, but it hasn't done anything out of this world, and I really think he was, a good solid run. He's going to be a nightmare in anything, but I think Winks really would have taken care of him. So I'm not getting carried away with it, even though it was an 8-length margin. Group 2, 1400 metre here, and I was keen that there was not a lot of speed on paper here, and the way the track was racing, I thought it would sort of port up for maybe like a Cosmic Cubit somewhat, Deviani, La Romaine. I thought they were clearly the top 4. I overlooked Taraki a little bit. The only reason I thought that it may have a good chance was because of the residual fitness from that Brisbane Carnival, and he's probably, arguably the best horse in the race too, but he had the poor setup here with 1400 metres on a soft surface, which he's, quoted not to have liked by, anyone close to the stable previously. So he did look a risk, but he did have that residual fitness and just a bit of class on some of this field, and that's how it showed out. It's probably the win of the day. Hartnell's, right up there, but this is probably the win of the day from a horse that got back. They haven't gone hard, and he's rounded them up and just run away from them. So here he comes. Here he's coming around Happy Clapper now. So every horse has had their chance to beat him. He's come to a part of the track that no other horse has really made a lot of ground on. Out wide, he's rounded them up quite easily, and he's run away from them. So no excuses for the beaten brigade here, apart from any sort of fitness or any injuries that haven't been named, and hard to make an excuse for anything. He's the strongest on the line, and he's run well. Happy Clapper's never going to be ready to go here, and his run, especially his last part, was really good again. He's run well. No knock on the rest. It just looks like they've run up to their best. Sons of John written out of his pattern's gone well first up. Cosmic Cube just looks struggling a little bit for form, even though this is a good test for him at weight for age. La Romaine looked the winner and had his chance. Gibiani the same. So Rocky looks like he's in for a good preparation. Unfortunately, you see Gusta Wing coming across the line there, and that's the last time we'll see her at the races. Haraki looks like he's come back from a good prep, and if he finds some dry tracks, look out. He looks like he's ready to go. Loramain should get his top now. Kibiani probably come to his top in these next couple of runs, and Happy Clapper will be a couple of runs away, somewhat maybe just a little bit harder to place. And same with Sons of John, but he'll be ridden more conservatively next time, I'd imagine, and he can improve. Last race, 1,000 metres. I was a little bit surprised that Hidden Pearl was so short. I thought her last run was a little bit. Last win was beating a team that wouldn't finish within 10 of these, and she came up quite short. I know the pattern was in her favour, but she didn't look that dominant. I was kind of surprised that Japanisme wasn't easy in the market either. He had class on these horses, but 1,000 metres is short of his best. He's definitely never looked like a 1,000 metre sort of horse. He's always looked at 1,200 metre horse, and even though I was surprised he got beat 7 lengths, I wasn't surprised he was beaten. Federal puts in a good performance, and Feline just lined up, looked very well suited, had the right gait, had the right run behind her last time. She had that good effort with Kobe Jennings on her, and she's just too good for them here. They've run good time, and it looks like the race of the day on raw figures at this stage. So we'll have a quick look at it.
McDonald. Federal goes as Hidden Pearl was quickly at off the fence. Aurora the outside.
They don't go overly quick, which plays again into Feline's hands in behind them. Japanisme is definitely in a challenging position here, and on face value, you'd have to say that he's a little bit disappointing considering Federal sat back and comes wider and beats him home comfortably. So it definitely does look the disappointment of the race, if there was one, Japanisme. And Felines has just struck the right race at the right time. Craftiness has returned to form. I thought that was not a bad effort first up, even though a lot of things in its favour. Wasn't a bad effort. First two clearly dominant over the rest. Federal had come wide from back and not a 1,000 metre horse, so his effort's good, and the winner just found the right race. She loves 1,000 metres, she loves it, and when she can just sit behind them and put them away, and that's just how it was, and quite an incredible price really. Looking back on it now. So the first two keen to follow, and if Felines finds another race similar, I think Federal will be more competitive at a 12 to 1,400 metre race. 12 next start would be ideal. He looked like he might have even just blown out there with it having to sustain a run over 1,000 metres late spot to him, so he'll be ready to go next time. Just going back now to last Saturday very quickly. It was Rosehill, it was a rail true, and the fence was off, and it was a fairly neutral track. Like you could come from anywhere as long as you stayed away from that inside portion. And there's winners from all over the place. So if we quickly look at a few races, Evacuation's one that was interesting. Obviously resuming at 1,400 metres, it was a bit of a lower class race. I know the times that were presented were wrong for the Astern race. Everyone's kind of saying that this race was far and superior to it. I'm not sure how you measure up 1,400 versus a 12, but they've obviously gone out pretty solidly here. Evacuation's been made to work, and he's just too strong for them late. I'm not saying it was the strongest benchmark 70 in the world, and it looked like, the main threat, Coco Excel, just didn't run the trip, so. But it was a good pipe opener for this guy. You can see that he's off the bit nice and early. He looks like he's in trouble here, and Pipeline has had a few runs. He's going to go past him, but there's not many excuses for the rest of them, even though they may be limited, especially at this distance compared to where Evacuation is, aiming to get this spring. But just love the way that he responds late and puts them away, and looks like he's really only warming up on the line. He looks like he pricks his ears across the line, which is a good sign for a horse that looked like he's under pressure 600 metres out, that he's got those ears up his sleeve. And here he is with pricked ears here. So good horse, Evacuation. Not by any means saying that run was superior to anything on the day, but it was a great little pipe opener. I think they've pulled the right rein to go to that race first up and give him a bit of an easy kill. And he's come back in good form. Race 5, I'll have a quick look at because I think there's a couple of horses that can run well out of it. I said it was kind of, it was Rosehill where you wanted to be up inside and get off, which is normal. Here, Highly Geared does a really good job deciding to take the sit and get to the right part. I was on Zoo Magic, not sure why they came off the fence here when he could have followed Highly Geared through. James McDonald does take the run that Zoo Magic should have taken, and instead of coming wide here, he's cost himself probably a couple of lengths, 2 to 3 lengths. Could have been hard on the back of Highly Geared. Instead he's now 2 to 3 off him and coming to a worse part of the track, whereas Hallucinari came from 2 or 3 behind him, is now level with him and coming into the best part of the track. So bit of a shame that they took that route with that horse, and I think it's cost him the race. Clearly cost him the race. Hallucinari was a little bit stiff, not the fine running at the time, but it was still a great ride for mine, and the only way it was ever going to be the finish was to be ridden that way. But Hallucinari, Zoo Magic, Rose of Man, 3 runs of the race for mine. Rose of Man, back to 1,000 metres is going to be a nightmare to beat and find some run-on conditions. There's really no excuse for most of the others. They've all had their chance. But they were the 3 standout performances for mine in that race. Can be forgiving of our Harmony. Going forward, it was sort of wide and back throughout. Race 6, Bacchus's race. I thought there were some great rides here from basically everyone in the race. They all gave their horses the chance. Bacchus, Snoopy, Handfast and Costinati, His Majesty, all given their chance. I like the run of Kellyville Flyer as well. And I just think the best sprinter won on the day. I think Snoopy's looking for 1,400 metres minimum. He's the one who looks like he lobs into position to chase perfectly here. And definitely looks the winner before home. He was the one you wanted to be on, but he hits a flat spot here and really struggles to pick the leader up and doesn't get going till very late, whereas the Bacchus is only hitting his top very late as well, but still can sprint hard. A horse that I struggle to find in Handfast, come back well, and His Majesty, who was forced back to the inside, just no way in the world he was coming wide around them and beating them, and ran well also. Not sure where Sir Bacchus will go, but he's obviously a very classy type, and he's one that can just keep winning this prep. Snoopy to 1,400 to a mile next start, not hard to beat. His Majesty's going to the Cameron. He'll measure up there nicely. I'm not sure where Handfast will go. Probably similar steps to wherever Sir Bacchus goes, and he'll be hard to beat. He's not a horse of mine, but he's definitely a competitive horse in most races. Kellyville Flyer, I thought, stuck on well, considering it was only 1,200 metres and definitely not her go, and she could be competitive in a nice little mares race somewhere over the carnival. Group 2, Run to the Rose, and they really didn't go that hard here, which played into the hands of the leaders. Funny ride from Tommy Berry. I don't think he saw a stern. I'm still not sure why a horse that's had the run and got the fitness edge wants to play into the hands of the others who are all fresh and only probably got limited sprints on them, especially when they haven't gone hard early. He would have known they haven't gone hard early, and he really could have used his hard sprint and his tough, having the grounding of that one run as come catch me guys, rather than sitting there and letting them all catch him and then try and run them down again. I'm not sure how the heck a horse here in a stern that's come from 2 or 3 behind him is allowed in front of him before he releases his horse. So I was surprised not to see more about this in the steward's report, and it was just a miss error in timing from Tommy. I don't think he saw the stern. He probably thought he had all the others around him covered, and that's why he's tried to save some horse. But I don't really, when you see the response that he got from Star Turn, I don't see why you would hold the horse up. He obviously wasn't struggling, so I do think he's cost the horse the race. I'm not having a go at him, but I do think on this occasion his decision and not seeing a stern slip up the inside of him has cost him the race. A stern's a very nice horse in his own right. I'm just concerned about him stepping straight to 1,400 off this race, which was a little bit of a slowly run 1,200, and may have overplayed that he's just a flat out sprinter. As a specimen, he's an incredible horse, and I'm not doubting him, but I'm just thinking he may be a little bit vulnerable at the 1,400 second up, which will be the Golden Rose next Saturday. So I doubt. I think Star Turn's been announced it won't go. I didn't think it would go. And then you're coming back here to horses like Impending El Divino, who have to really pick up. They will be better suited at 1400 metres, but they really need, I think, Mediterranean there as well. All three of these runners are really going to need to pick up their game if they want to get near a horse like Divine Prophet or an Astern or Ome Sword if she runs. Quick look at the staying race here, only because a few of these horses I'm sure will be going towards the Newcastle Cup. The winner is Sense of Occasion, sits out wide here. It keeps out the favourite in straight, who was Allergic. Good ride from Tim Clark. You really wanted to be on one horse in the run, and that was Singing. It was only second up here with a 5-7 week gap between runs, but it's run well again, and you'd have to say that it's going to improve again into the Newcastle Cup. Sense of Occasion with its third trainer in a short period really looks to be back on track now. It's with Chris Lees. Once again, it was a great ride from Clark. He really didn't panic when he was wide throughout, and the horse finds really strongly. Magic Hurricane's going to improve fitness-wise. There's obviously not a lot between these horses, and Allergic's desperately unlucky. It's easy to see that. So
Singing and Magic Hurricane, Singing just in front, Magic Hurricane, Sense of Occasion, the outside, swooping.
All of these horses can be competitive in a Newcastle Cup. Slight leaning to Singing over the winner going forward. I just really think there is more improvement in that horse, and love the way he can travel on the speed. But Sense of Occasion can measure up. Allergic, obviously, and Magic Hurricane if he doesn't get weighted out of it. Quick look at the last, and Chetwood, really good ride, just allowed him to roll along, played advantage, played into his hands for the way the track was racing, and put his main rival in Canny Essence to the sword nice and early. I wasn't sure why Wearshaw was in the betting, but it battled on well, and Kanachi just took advantage of the run in the slipstream of the winner. He's just dominant, really. Love the run of Awesome Sam. He hit third nice and early. He's first up from the spell here and chases really hard. Really liked his run. Think that he's in for a good preparation. He's a nice horse, and he's always just keeps getting better every preparation. So he's one to watch, Awesome Sam. But Chetwood, I think, is heading to the Cameron as well. He's going to be a nightmare to run down there. If he gets in, he'll get in with no weight. And he, 13.50 around the Beaumont looks a gift to him. So he's going to give them something almighty to chase, especially if it's nice and dry and a bit of an on-pace advantage there on the day. Yeah. The two to follow for me are Awesome Sam and Chetwood out of the last. So an extended review of the two meetings. Hopefully there's something there. We're starting to really warm up into the Spring Carnival. I'll start looking at a few races from Melbourne too over the next few weeks if they're in the lead up to the Caulfield Guineas and races of that nature. There was a good run. If anyone's looking by a horse yesterday from the McAvoy yard, Haydock, it went enormous. I thought everything went wrong through it, could possibly go wrong, and it still sprinted and found the line, even though it looked like it might be under pressure there a little bit of the way out. So it's a horse to follow, and good luck, guys, and I'll be back with more reviews and previews soon. Thanks.